Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Greenholz, and I'm the Vice President at Genesis Solutions, which is an ABS Group company. It is my pleasure to be presenting today's presentation entitled Leadership and Transformation for Reliability. I would like to begin with a brief introduction to the ABS Group, which is a subsidiary of ABS, the American Bureau of Shipping. ABS was founded in 1862 as an American classification society. A classification society is a non-governmental agency that establishes and maintains technical standards for the construction and operation of ships and offshore structures. We at ABS Group provide a wide array of engineering and asset management services, including mechanical integrity, process safety management, and ISO certifications. Genesis Solutions, which is an ABS Group company, provides enterprise asset management and performance optimization services. This presentation will address the topic of leadership and specifically for leading a transformation of a single plant, a multi-site company, or a singular unit operation to become reliability focused. I will introduce the adoption of a specific transformation process which will include empowerment and capability development. As you can see in this illustration, maintenance has evolved significantly over the decades, from simply providing reactive maintenance services as compared with today's expectation for being relied upon to provide world-class proactive maintenance based on asset condition. Simply stated, maintenance has evolved from being an overhead or cost center to a service organization that provides a competitive advantage for its customers and stakeholders. Yet, far too many maintenance groups still haven't formalized their maintenance strategy or still struggle to move away from a traditional calendar-based maintenance program. Daniel Denison is a professor of management and organization. His work on organizational culture and business performance is well known around the world. Denison's leadership development model asserts that organizational culture can be described with 4 dimensions. As you can see, these dimensions are mission, adaptability, involvement, and consistency. For the purpose of our discussion specific to maintenance, let's begin with mission. As you may know, ISO 55000 is recognized as a global standard for asset management. With regards to the ISO 55000 framework and Denison's focus on mission, does your maintenance organization have a documented asset management policy as well as a documented maintenance strategy? If so, are the maintenance department objectives aligned with the overall business objectives established by your executive management? Regarding the dimension of adaptability, is your maintenance department embracing continuous improvement? An example would be utilizing data that is being collected around your critical equipment and establishing performance improvement targets. Are equipment operators and maintainers aware of their specific roles and responsibilities? Are their skill sets being kept current via a well thought out and defined training program? Is maintenance actively promoting what I call a learning organization? The dimension of involvement is focused around empowerment and capability development. Examples would include self-directed work teams, operational care programs, communities of practice, and centers of excellence. The final dimension I would like to highlight is consistency. Effective maintenance organizations embrace work standards, process maps, standard practice instructions. They utilize internal customer service level agreements, all of which ensure a well-coordinated maintenance effort that is integrated seamlessly with operations. Leadership and transformation for reliability requires that the maintenance organization be built upon a strong foundation. As I mentioned earlier, ISO 55000 can serve as an effective framework for this foundation. Having a strong foundation for your transformation effort is critical, but so are the leadership creating a value proposition, establishing a mission and vision that can be achieved with an effective transformation strategy that is well communicated, understood, and embraced by the entire organization. Clearly, a motivated and empowered workforce can meet the daily challenges associated with a transformation effort. In this slide, following the top swim lane, we see all the necessary elements for a successful transformation: vision and strategy, an action plan, appropriate resourcing, KSA, which stands for knowledge, skills, and ability, and finally incentives, and not necessarily monetary incentives. Having all these elements in place will result in positive change. Without a vision and strategy, we wind up with confusion. Without a robust action plan, we will have a false start. Without the necessary resources, we will have a frustrated workforce. Without KSA, we will have anxiety, and without the appropriate incentives, for example, recognition is a powerful incentive, we will eventually achieve change, although it will be a gradual transformation. As I stated earlier, ISO 55000 provides an excellent framework for supporting a reliability transformation. In addition to the ISO framework, there is what I refer to as the 7 EAM enterprise asset management elements that also need to be included in the scope of your asset management strategy. These are your data repository, referred to as the CMMS, workflow and inventory management, planning and scheduling, key performance indicators, a documented maintenance strategy, and finally, organizational readiness. In other words, successful EAM requires a focus on people, process, systems, technology, and governance. To reach a target operating model, leaders should identify their current state of maintenance maturity via an analytical assessment and create the implementation path to reach their target state. Inclusion of these 7 elements depicted in this graphic to the ISO 55000 analysis is essential. As you can see on this ISO 55000 continuum, the EAM maturity progression begins with innocence and eventually evolves to awareness, developing, competence, and excellence. Let's look at the competent organization. A competent organization has a developed strategic asset management plan, has robust policies and objectives, has a resource plan with implementation controls, as well as performance targets and the mechanisms to address nonconformities. Inclusion of the 7 EAM elements will provide the ISO 55000 analysis with the additional and necessary granularity required for a successful transformation effort. Evaluating specific EAM elements, such as organizational readiness and capability development, and measuring these capabilities is essential for leaders to illustrate not only where their organization resides on the maintenance maturity continuum, but also is essential for messaging. Leaders need to convey where their organization's specific EAM strengths reside, and also where are the identified opportunities for improvement. Having these documented evaluations will facilitate the communication of a value proposition to gain support and buy-in for the transformation effort. The value proposition is a benefits realization plan that addresses the what's in it for me for all the stakeholders impacted by maintenance. In addition to the ISO 55000 EAM evaluation, I would like to introduce a Six Sigma process to frame our transformation process. And as this cartoon suggests, if we can pull this off, we can eat like kings. Genesis Solutions has successfully deployed the Six Sigma DMAIC process over the past 15 years to enable various industries, manufacturing, and government sector service providers to achieve the transformation to reliability. The DMAIC process begins with D, which is to define our asset management progression. This is the ISO 55000 maturity continuum we reviewed earlier. The M is to measure where we reside on the continuum, which requires that we conduct the assessment. A is analyzing the assessment results to document our strengths and opportunities. I is the improvement or implementation effort that we will lead, and we are calling this our transformation effort. And finally, the C, which are the controls needed to ensure that we can sustain and govern our transformation effort. You will notice that this maturity continuum has similarities to the ISO 55000 profile and begins with the reactive maintenance and progresses to planned, then predictive, and eventually to the reliability stage, and eventually to the enterprise domain. Any improvement across this continuum, as well as the ISO 55000 continuum, will be an incremental improvement. As you can see, leaders should be focused on the swim lanes: people, process, systems, technology, and governance to make the necessary advancements. Once again, as we did with the ISO 55000 exercise, we will also measure each of the 7 EAM elements to help us with analyzing our capabilities and opportunities. Leaders know where they are and where they want to go. By measuring the current state of their maintenance organization, leaders will be better positioned to analyze results and create the transformation plan. You will note the relationship with the EAM element assessment results shown at the top half of this graphic and how it relates to the strategic asset management plan that is shown in the bottom section. A simplistic interpretation is that the EAM assessment at the top of the illustration represents the 7 EAM elements, which are the essential ingredients for our transformation plan. And the master plan at the bottom half of the slide is our recipe for that transformation. Effective leadership requires the ability to make business-savvy decisions based on a prioritization strategy. It helps to go after some quick and easy wins, such that the implementation team gains confidence and also gains buy-in from all the stakeholders. Following that, it is prudent to look at projects having ease of implementation, but that also provide a gain, meaning they have a decent return on investment or business impact to demonstrate the value proposition associated with the maintenance transformation effort. Some maintenance reliability pilots may not be quick wins and can involve some additional complexities, but the reward for a successful implementation for these types of pilots usually warrant this extra effort. This is an example of a reliability pilot at a pharmaceutical production plant that resulted in a 20% increase in production capacity. Due to the complexity of this pilot, the time required to implement was 12 months of effort. This is compared to typical pilots for quick win type projects that usually require 3 to 6 months. Leadership for transformation will require executive sponsorship and buy-in. Effective leadership requires clear messaging, which is simple to understand. What better way to convey the potential for a maintenance transformation than by using a maintenance iceberg illustration? Maintenance costs that are typically recognized reside above the waterline. However, effective leaders can readily convey the bigger picture. The iceberg also illustrates the indirect costs that reside below the waterline. By making the correlation of the transformation impact on energy, missed schedules, excess inventory, defect rates, etc., the program impact is now recognized as having a greater footprint and impact on operations and the associated financials. Effective leadership requires empowering the network. This is a heat map and is an example of how a maintenance transformation was initiated by sharing EAM assessment results of an entire network of plants. After reviewing this heat map, a pilot program involving communities of practice, known as COPs, was suggested to empower the network by identifying and then sharing of best practices. Leaders also provide the path forward solutions, meaning the how-tos. By using the heat map in the previous slide, the maintenance leaders also suggested that the community of practice be implemented according to the APQC, American Productivity Quality Council framework. This framework aligns with the Denison model that we saw earlier. It begins with aligning the COP to the core business strategy, creating the strategy, and then including provisions for sustaining and evolving the transformation effort. The COPs in this example were global teams of reliability engineers that focused on reliability-based maintenance methodologies applied to similar classifications of equipment. By sharing their collective experiences with similar asset types, this plant network was able to improve and sustain performance as measured by OEE, which is overall equipment effectiveness. They also utilized equipment availability metrics, mean time between failure and repairs, etc. Communities of practice or centers of excellence are very efficient at accelerating a transformation to reliability and operational excellence initiative. Some final points I would like to convey is that with any transformation effort, leaders should be constantly aware of what I referred to earlier as their organizational readiness. Change isn't easy, and some in the organization may feel threatened with anything other than maintaining the status quo. Final point is around management controls and reporting systems. Executive dashboards for keeping your project sponsors informed is crucial for sustaining the transformation program momentum and ongoing support. Selecting 3 to 5 key performance indicators is a good starting point. Please take the time to select those performance metrics that best reflect the impact of your maintenance program transformation on the business. Remember, you can't push a rope. Effective leaders know how to create a pull. They do so by demonstrating value through consistent and timely communications. So wrapping up today's presentation, please don't fall into the status quo trap. Keeping things just the way they are should not be an option. To summarize, leaders have a plan. They know where they are and where they are going. Effective leaders build the case for change by creating a sense of urgency. Gaining sponsorship requires solid planning and a well-defined value proposition. Leaders gain buy-in from their network by promoting a learning organization, by utilizing data to drive decisions and to evaluate performance. Leadership requires delegation and removing barriers. Leaders embrace the value of collaboration, quality, integrity, and always show respect for people. The operators and maintainers are those folks that are closest to the asset. Leaders recognize this and strive to empower these individuals by investing in training and performance improvement initiatives. So play to win. Hopefully today you have gained some insight on how to improve your maintenance organization's performance. Should you wish to discuss any part of today's presentation in detail, please contact us at Genesis Solutions. Thank you.